Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode. So today I am doing a what I wish I knew about China before moving to China video, because sometimes when you read on, I did a lot of research, but none of the videos or articles I read mentioned the things that I've observed and wish I knew before making the decision to move here. If you're interested, please stay tuned. Let's go. Right, so the first thing for me was that there was no proper training before I was put into class to teach. I literally arrived in China, I think, on a Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and then I had I arrived on a Saturday, and then I had a Sunday off, which I was exhausted. It was my first time traveling abroad. It was so hot in China, I was dehydrated. Basically, I was not ready for work. And on a Monday, the same day, they put me in class. There was no orientation. They didn't introduce me to the students. They just, this is your class, and then I had to go. Gave me my schedule, and then that was that. Yeah, I know. I taught before, but I had not taught IB yet. So it was my first time teaching IB, grade 11. I did need a lot of training for being thrown into the classroom, but then they just threw me into the classroom and I had to figure things out. I was fortunate that the book was not so bad, but then IB does stipulate that teachers need to be trained thoroughly. I only went for training, I think, after like 7 months, which was another different story that it's not allowed according to the IB regulations. Anyway, yeah, they can just throw you in the classroom and with no training, and that's just that. You're just gonna have to figure it out. The second thing was that the work culture. I knew that the culture is different, like the way of life in general. I didn't know that the work culture was going to be that different from what I was used to. It was so different. Chinese teachers are very busy. They work all the time. But in my first school, they were not like that. But yeah, it's more hardcore. You know, like there's meetings we had meetings every Tuesday. It was just annoying most of the time. My manager was very sexist as well. So my work culture was, it was not everything was bad about it, but it was so different from what I was used to. In South Africa, it's more liberal, especially for teachers. No one is over your head all the time. So here it was totally different, and I hated my first experience. But it's like a shock at first, and then you get used to it. So now it doesn't bother me at all. I know what people do. I know not to be bothered when I see people busy all the time. Stick to my contracts and stuff, and then I'm good. But at first it was really shocking. I was like, what is going on? Yeah, so it can be shocking. The work life here is, ooh. Oh, this one important fun fact, they take naps. So that was my favorite thing. In South Africa, we're not allowed to take naps at work. So everyone is on the move and basically just distant in Shanghai. No sense of community whatsoever. Now, if you come from South Africa, I'm introverted, but I still greeted my neighbors. I asked how they're doing. I had a relationship with all my neighbors, like around my neighborhood. I knew most people I greeted. Even if I didn't know people, I would greet anyway, because an elder person, even a young person, you just wave. Here, no one greets you. Your colleagues sometimes don't greet you even. Your neighbors don't even greet you. They don't acknowledge you even when you greet them. It's so different. Yeah, my colleagues tried to explain the reasons behind that, and I was just like, well, okay, but I honestly didn't understand. I still don't understand why people do that. The lockdown has helped a little bit because we had to, I guess, we were just stuck together, and then now I know most of my neighbors, and then like these groups as well. So that's helped. But before that, I didn't even speak to my neighbor. I just greeted her. She actually never even greeted me back, but now we greet each other, and yeah, we talk a little bit. She speaks a little bit of English, but at first it was just like, no one talks to you, you don't talk to no one, everyone's on the move, distant, very cold, and it can really mess up with you. In South Africa, it's so different. So in Shanghai, let's talk about the weather. In Shanghai, it's not very cold in winter, but it's harsh at the same time. So the temperatures don't go very low, but it's definitely not what I've experienced in South Africa. I've needed huge jackets here to survive. It's really uncomfortably cold, and summer is way too hot. I'm not a fan of summer anyway, but here I'm really not a fan of summer. It's humid and hot and baking basically. And the water, I have eczema, so it's been a struggle to find products that are going to work for me. My skin hates this weather. My skin hates the water here, but then it's gotten a lot better. My other friend told me to get a filter, but then you have to pay a person to filter. I don't know how the thing works. I feel like I'm gonna move, so I'm gonna wait for another 2 months. But yeah, the water is terrible for me as well. We don't drink tap water, so yeah, that is another factor. Last thing, a lot of people want to move to China so that they can save money, right? I'm sorry to tell you that you might not be able to save money for about a year. At least for me, I couldn't save money for a year because I hadn't saved enough to start a life here. Everyone tells you that life is cheap in China and whatnot, but you still need money to start a life. I'm going to do another video on that, like a video on just the expenses, living expenses here. But anyway, yeah, you definitely will think that you will save money and you have this money and whatnot. Nah, might not be able to save unless you have a lot of money to start a life here. Please understand that. Anyway, these are just supposed to help you make a decision about whether you want to teach here or live here or work here doing whatever else, because it's not about teaching only nowadays. Anyway, yeah, I hope this helps. I will see you guys in the next video. I love you so much. Bye.